Hey Marty, lovely to see you.
Hey, Ronan, great to see you as well.
This, I think, Marty, is the first time ever we've met on Zoom or a virtual platform. Every other time we've met in person, it's either been at our RETA gathering, it's been at a Oxford Club event, or our paths have crossed in a bunch of different places. So isn't this almost like not of the moment that we're meeting on Zoom for the first time?
Yeah, it's been great to see you in person, but it's great to see you on Zoom as well. And it looks like you're in beautiful Ireland there with all the green behind you.
I am. I'm actually in a bit of a tricky moment because I moved my office out into my backyard because we had a little bit of sunshine. Now the rare event of belting Irish sunshine is starting. So we'll battle through this. Marty, in the time we're on this Zoom, it's possible the temperatures will top 63 degrees
Oh
here in
my
Ireland.
gosh.
So
Wow.
so yeah, yeah, yeah. How about you? Things heating up in Florida?
Yeah, so I'm in Naples, Florida, and it's going to be hot today. Going to be up over 90 degrees. So, but it's a beautiful sunny day here in South Florida, and most of the snowbirds have moved out and gone back up north. So we're just here still.
Excellent, excellent. So I invited Marty to come talk to us today to tell us essentially how his new banks or the new bank that he's part of, a bank called Battle Bank, how that's positioning itself as, I guess, the solution for a lot of the kind of the banking headaches that the real estate investors have to deal with. In the interest of full disclosure, I'm a very small shareholder in Battle Bank. I made a small investment in the bank at the very, very early stages of when the first round of or one of the first rounds of seed funding was being put together. And I guess I invested because I know the principles behind this deal. They have a very, very impressive track record, and they're just the type of people I felt very comfortable investing alongside. And unlike what I tell you here in our beat of real estate, I did literally zero due diligence. I I bet on the people. Marty, I know enough about this world that me trying to do due diligence on a banking deal is about as futile as it can be. So I put a bit of money behind Frank Trotter and Rick Rule, who have a very, very impressive track record. But I think what's been very exciting for me, Marty, just to kind of watch this evolve is just how customer centric you guys are. And while I don't bank in the US and I've no banking relationships in the US, I feel the pain of our readers here at RETA because many of the legacy banks can just be cumbersome and not fit for our purpose as real estate investors.
Yeah, it's definitely a problem. I mean, the challenge for in the banking industry for people is they're either dealing with a really huge bank that's trying to be all things to all people and rarely serves anybody really well, um, or they're dealing with a real small local bank that just doesn't have the experience of dealing with any sort of international banking type stuff. So Battle Bank is really geared towards, as an internet only bank, we're really geared towards a specific audience. Uh, I liken it to a community bank for people with like interests rather than similar geography. So, there's a lot of different ways to define community. In our case, we define it by similar interests, a lot of which revolves around international living and living abroad, owning investment property abroad, and that sort of thing. So, while we're not quote unquote an international bank per se, where we have banking offices in other places, we do have some solutions for folks that do have international needs.
And also I would say, Marty, with the particular eye to real estate investors and folks who are looking to use, self-directed retirement accounts and other mechanisms to manage their real estate holdings and to manage the cash flows in and out.
Yeah, for sure. Our self-directed product is a little different. The traditional way of investing in real estate and a retirement plan is to go through a trust company. Your asset has to have a custodian. Traditionally, that would be a trust company or a bank that would custody the asset directly. And it can be challenging for people that want to own real estate internationally to find a custodian to do that. Most of them won't because it's difficult for them to get the economies of scale that they need in any one place to make that an economically viable program. So what we do is what's called checkbook control, where we create an LLC that is owned entirely by your IRA, and you're the manager of that LLC. And so while now the custodian relationship shifts from custodying the asset directly, the real estate in this case, to we custody the LLC, and you're the manager of the LLC, and you can go direct your investments. You still need to follow all the same rules as far as prohibited transactions and that sort of thing. You can't stay in your property. You really should have a third-party manager, but you can write the contracts, you can do the due diligence, you can send the wires, you can collect the rents, you can do that kind of stuff. So it does make owning international real estate viable in a retirement plan and makes it pretty simple. We just, as the custodian of the IRA, we're custodying that LLC directly, and then the real estate is owned by the LLC, so which you're in charge of. So it sort of simplifies that process.
And I'm conscious you're not open for business yet, but when you do open for business, will folks need to move everything to you, or could I pick up the phone and say, "Hey, Marty, I'd like to give Battle Bank a try. I'd like to buy this particular property or this small number of properties through my IRA via this Battle Bank structure you've spoken about"?
No, you don't have to move everything to us. Obviously, we'd love to earn that business, but we'll earn it by doing a great job for people. So no, you don't have to do everything with us. The self-directed retirement products is a special group with people that are very experienced in that space. The team that I work with has got years and years of experience doing this. And so we're more than happy to just help you with the retirement stuff. But we do offer a full suite of banking products, high yield deposit accounts. So a checking account that earns interest like a money market account, but has full transaction capabilities and things like that. We also have foreign currency deposits and other things that make things a little bit easier for folks that are doing some business overseas.
Yeah. And how will those foreign currency deposits work?
So you can either own a basket of currencies, or you can own a specific currency in a Battle Bank deposit account. It's a U.S. based deposit account with FDIC insurance. You just hold the currency, and you can just hold a foreign currency in that account. So it works very similar to our regular deposit account.
Yeah, and in terms of interests, will interest rates applicable, match or come close to what the interest rates would be in that country, in that currency?
Not sure about the interest rate, but I think the interest rate would be more U.S. based interest rates, but you would get the changes in the fluctuation of the currency valuation relative to the U.S. dollar.
Yeah. So for example, if I intended to enter a real estate transaction in Brazil or Colombia, for example, and I knew I was going to need to make this series of payments over the course of, say, 2 years in the local currency, I could securely deposit that amount, in that currency in a US insured bank account and drip it out as per my contractual obligations.
Yeah, that's a good use case for it. So you've got a little protection against currency fluctuation, so that you have the funds there to make those payments. Yes.
Yeah, because again, I'm kind of thinking specifically about Brazil and Colombia, because I think in terms of this application, these are markets, that we're back looking at very, very intently. And the exchange rate volatility has been pretty dramatic. And sometimes, really feeling, irrational spikes in the dollar value. And again, caveats and all that aside, I'm not a currency guy, and I'm not making any currency calls. But as a real estate investor, when I see some of the big moves that in terms of strengthening that the dollar has made at moments against the Colombian peso and the Brazilian real, there are these moments where, if we're getting our ducks in a row for a real estate transaction in those places, that's a moment when I really want to lock in that exchange rate.
Right.
And also, even for some of the Mexico specific stuff, for many of us who've bought multiple units in Mexico and we're preparing for furniture purchases, which, if we're buying direct, are going to be peso dependent. So, I'm in a fortunate position to have bank accounts in many of these different countries, but I keep them stocked, Marty. So I have that stock of local currency on hand, because I don't want a peso liability of X popping up in 3 months' time, and suddenly the currency has made a move that I hadn't been anticipating.
Right.
I suppose you touched on this. You touched on the rules around buying and owning real estate through a self-directed retirement account, and I guess those apply to pretty much every RETA member's transaction. I mean, we buy for investment. We have professional arm's length managers in place. Sometimes we buy homes that are in part for personal use, which could disqualify them. But in the main, it's very important for RETA members to be aware of that when they are buying purely for investment, under those criteria you mentioned, like professional arm's length managers, like we're not using it as a vacation home or as a place we give out as gifts to friends and family free of charge all the time, but a straight up real estate investment qualifies, and can really feels like it's a very natural part of any retirement or pension plan to me.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good way to diversify out of, other assets that a lot of people own in retirement accounts. A lot of people have always thought you could only own publicly traded securities, which is just simply not true. You can own pretty much anything in a retirement plan as long as it's not a collectible or a life insurance policy. And so real estate for investment purposes is a great asset, generates cash flow. People understand it. So that makes it a lot easier. It's challenging to understand the stock market and what makes it tick and why it goes up and why it goes down. But most people understand real estate. They own real estate. A lot of people have invested in it. And so as a retirement asset, it can be a great asset for that. And, the ability to own something internationally where, maybe you own a property that you stay in, but you also, have an opportunity through RETA, for example, to be able to buy another property for purely investment. That's the key. It has to be for investment. You can't stay in it. And none of your kids or your parents can stay in it. So as long as it's for investment purposes, there's nothing wrong with owning it in your retirement plan. It can be a great
Yeah.
asset for people.
Great stuff. And Marty, this is a bit nuts and bolts, but something that folks should be mindful of, and maybe we don't have the answer now, but when I reserve, presumably, if I want my piece of real estate to be held in this structure, do I need to know the entity name from the get go? So when I sign my sales contract with the developer, does that contract need to be with that entity? Um,
Yeah, the answer is yes.
yeah,
So
yeah,
you should have your LLC. It's a special purpose LLC specifically for this. It can't be an LLC that existed prior to, and then you just add it to your IRA. It has to be created specifically for this. So yeah, you should have your LLC and your IRA set up ahead of time. And when you write your contract, it's critical that you write your contract in the name of the LLC, and
yeah,
you as the manager of the LLC are executing that contract. You can't write the contract in your name and then assign it to your LLC. You should do it from the get-go in the name of your LLC.
yeah, yeah. And even aside from this consideration, you know, the in places like Mexico, the anti-money laundering laws have just got so onerous now. You know, it's just not possible to swap between individual names and entity names, or it's extremely cumbersome to do
Okay.
so. So it's very, very important to have your full strategy laid out from the get go. Um, so I guess what else, Marty? How else can ye help? You know, where do you guys expect to just be a better, more friendly bank to deal with than the legacy providers?
So I think some of the areas that will be a little better, especially for your clientele, for RETA members, is we will be a bit more international friendly. So we'll be opening accounts for US and Canadians, US expats that are living overseas, people from overseas that are in the US working and living and have a tax ID number here. So we understand those rules. We're a bank that understands that, has a team of people that understand how this works. And so it'll be pretty easy to bank with us from that perspective. And as an online only bank, we've built our online account opening system and our online banking to be able to accommodate for those situations. So I think that's the biggie. And with the self-directed retirement accounts, you can go from start to finish with creating your IRA and your LLC in a day or two. It's not a long process. In the past, a lot of people have experienced a long drawn out process trying to create this program, and we've designed ours to be end to end open in a day or so. And really, the only reason why it takes that long is because we have to go out and you got to get a tax ID number for your LLC. We've got to make sure your LLC name hasn't already been taken, so we've got a naming convention for that to make it easy. And so we've tried to make that process very seamless and easy to do through our online portal, and also with our team of experts that can help you through the process and answer questions. We're also our website will have a lot of content, educational content for folks to make it easier for them to understand how this works, with a lot of FAQs, and eventually we'll have videos and other commentary from experts in the field that people can go to use as an educational tool to learn how to do this. So hopefully we'll be a good resource for people.
Great stuff. And of course, you know, what we've spoken about there in terms of real estate transactions, of course, you're open for business to help with folks for US real estate as well.
Of course, definitely.
Yeah.
And with US real estate, unfortunately, we aren't able to do it internationally yet, but for US real estate, for folks that own or want to buy real estate in their retirement account in the US, we also have a financing program for that. There is a way to do it. It has to be a non-recourse loan where the person, if it were your IRA, Ronan, you would not be a guarantor, or you'd only sign on behalf of your LLC as the owner.
Mhm.
You're not taking on personal liability at all. So we underwrite just to the real estate, and then we have some other requirements like reserves and things like that. But we're able to finance real estate inside retirement plans, which is kind of neat.
At what loan to value?
Typically we'll go up to 70% loan to value. But depending on, what the cash flow, the rent, because we're underwriting the rental income. So depending on, if you're buying something in California with a 2% cap rate, then you're probably not going to get the 70% loan to value. But
Yeah.
if you're somewhere with a little bit better cash flow profile, we can get up to 70% loan to value.
And what type of rates? What type of spread?
Typically, they're going to be a little higher than your typical mortgage rates, probably another 1 to 2% higher than a typical mortgage interest rate. And they're not, our loans are not typically 30-year fixed. It's usually a 7 or a 10-year fixed, and then it goes to an adjustable rate for the remainder of the term. But it doesn't have a balloon payment, which is important, I think, from an investor standpoint, to know that your loan is in place for the life of it with a 30-year amortization. So there's no balloon payment.
Absolutely, Marty. And well, it will be very excited if and when you guys are in a position to offer that product to international real estate as well. Marty, fabulous to chat with you. Anything else to add? Where can folks get more information? And will you be coming to the International Living Boot Camp in October? And that's a question. And I hope to see you at our RETA gathering in February.
Yeah. So as far as where to go to get more information, you can just Google battlebank.com. It'll take you to our website. Our website is our pre-opening website, so it's not a complete website, but it does have a lot of information about the group that's founding the bank and the products that we're planning to offer and other information. So we are in formation and hoping to open later this year. And am planning to come to as many of the events as I can. I haven't specifically dialed in which ones we'll be at, but we definitely want to continue to participate and meet people out there and at your great events.
Great stuff. So, Marty, we'll include all the contact details, the links to the various websites with this alert as well. And yeah, thanks for your time. Lovely to see you, and
Great.
Looking forward to seeing you somewhere very soon.
I'm sure we'll see you soon. It's been great to talk to you, Ronan. Take care.
Thanks, Marty.
Bye-bye.